Hey one hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we kick off my look at the deluxes, at least the deluxes that I'm going to be looking at, for the Transformers Legacy Speedia, our Velocitron Speedia 500 series. Woo! There's a lot of words there. This, of course, is Road Rocket. And I was excited to get this mold because I didn't get the Prime Universe RC. I had zero interest in that. I don't think it looks remotely like RC. I thought it was a miss. But I did want the mold. So when Road Rocket was announced, I was like, hey, he's pretty cool. And then I heard that Road Rocket was going to be a fembot, if you want to call it that, this time around. And I thought to myself, I'm okay with that too, honestly, because I think the mold really does fit. Is it a good mold? I'm kind of hyped up. Does it live up to expectations? Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this bot. And so we kick off the deluxes for the Velocitron Speedia 500 series with Road Rocket. I'm not going to be looking at the IDW blur because I don't really like IDW, and I've already got two versions of that we've looked at here on the channel, so there you go. However, I will kick off what I am going to be looking at for the deluxes with this guy. Or I should say this girl in this case, because the character has been revisioned now to be feminine, and I'm okay with that. I think it kind of matches the more like slender motorcycle mode. Probably a bit better, so I'm cool with it. In terms of the packaging, a motorcycle up here, we have the robot mode down here, of course this is Legacy down there. It folds around to the side, the robot mode does. That's probably the name in Cybertronium would be my guess. Over here, a close-up of Road Rocket. I like this face, and the more I see this, the more I think, I feel like that there could be a version of Nightbird in here. And on the back, of course, we have all of the product images. We also have these two translucent pieces that make a ninja star. I don't know what this is. And I say two because these can, although I guess it doesn't want to do it now, they do come apart, and we do have two of them. We have instructions. Generally I find the instructions for Legacy to be pretty good, but I have to be honest, I found these to be utter useless garbage. But that comes with a bit of a caveat. I'm saying that they're utter useless garbage, but there's a reason. And here, of course, we have Road Rocket. While the gender is changed, some things about the characterization and whatnot stay the same. Apparently this version is still supposed to be a Decepticon ninja, and like still kind of like craves battle almost insatiably, tends to get overheated and likes to, like, you know, drink motor oil and antifreeze to sort of like keep cool, so to speak. And I'm pretty sure that those two translucent pieces are supposed to be what forms the like light cycle buzzsaw thing that Road Rocket's supposed to have. As it is, this is a serviceable bike. We have a kickstand down here. Yes, it rolls just fine. I will say this, fresh out of package, this piece was off and it basically just falls off. The only reason it hasn't fallen off there now is because I finally have the two wing pieces, we'll say, tabbed in. In package, those two wing pieces were not tabbed in, and when I tried to tab them in, I could not fit them into slots that they're intended to go in. I had to go in and shave both slots on both sides. So there's kind of, I think like a rectangular slot down on the leg that it goes in, and then there's like an L slot that the two sides kind of, I'll say, nudge into. They don't really stay there. They could not fit in the L slots, and they used to pop off the legs. I had to do some work. So, I mean, worth noting that right out of the box, the whole front of this is a little bit of a QC nightmare, so to speak. We'll see if I can actually do the transformation and stuff without deliberately removing it, though you can. We'll see. It's probably going to fall off, but we'll see. So, in terms of the coloration, I mean, the seat area should be blue, which we have on the forearms, basically. And the rest of the bike red. I mean, I think this is fairly accurate for what it is. Let's do the transformation. We'll talk about scores sort of after the fact. So, we begin by picking this off and picking that side off. Whew. All right. Hasn't popped off yet. This whole section will kind of like bring up like that. Then we have the legs, and I like how the waist is up here, and then the thigh, the front of the leg, or I guess the calf of the leg, and then the front of the leg is down here. I think that that's really kind of neat. Out of package, again, I pretty much couldn't get the back tire apart, so I had to sand down those pegs a little bit. I had both of these front shin pieces fall off. I had to sand down the, I guess the opening that this notches into. There was some flash on there, I suppose. And now it seems like it works better. We'll see for sure. Fold this up on the side and fold that one up on the side. Then we can bring these legs out. With these legs out, I like to straighten them up and bring them in. Mine do tab, shockingly. I've had both thighs also come off. I had to do some work in there with, again, making sure that the mushroom peg fit properly. I'll open out a foot. And over here I'll do the same. I'll put that in. Mine does kind of like click, I guess. And we'll take all of that sort of there like that for now. The arms back here, they split, and I'll bring them out to the side. I have had both biceps also come off, and I had to do work with them. And I had one arm come off at the shoulder. There's a metal pin inside the shoulder. Luckily, I was able to pin it back in, but like, I don't think that should have happened, man. Okay, so then we bring down the legs, right? The whole waist section now comes down. We should be able to bring the pelvis piece up around and then straighten down those legs down there. The whole thing is going to now rotate around, and then this whole section here, it does now kind of, I'll call it click in, but I was having a real major issue with this section. Now, in fixing a number of issues on this, I have to give a lot of credit to Ninja Bill, because I couldn't figure out the instructions. What I learned is, first, these arms do tab in up here if you push them up. I did not know that. The second most important thing that I learned is that this piece right here with the ball and the straight piece there was very much misassembled on mine. It was both upside down basically and backwards. So it was impossible for me to do the transformation correctly. Now I seem to be able to do it correctly, and I've heard that there's a waist, but I don't feel like there's, I guess there's a wiggle, but there's not much of a waist. Because when I go to move it, this ball in here doesn't really like to move. Instead, this very soft black plastic on the two sides of the body tends to flex and bend. Before I would get an ankle, or sorry, a waist, I would pop that waist. So worth noting. All of that is up. Then this turns around, and basically it all collapses, or should collapse, on the back. Wow! Look at that. I actually did it without that coming off. Now this can come off, right? That whole section can come off deliberately. Usually mine comes up. Now I did try thickening it with a little bit of Bondic, and maybe that worked. Maybe it was enough that it worked. We also have this tire here. Now this tire, while it can come off with the whole thing, it can also come off separately. And if you want, you could take this and open it. And again, like, she could hold it in her hand or whatever. But it can also go behind the head, which kind of makes more sense here, because this character should have, if I can find it now, should have, it's a hole back here, a 5mm port, by the way, that this 5mm peg can go in. Tires behind, yeah, like that. Road Rocket should have tires up behind the shoulders thusly, so that in the end, and I know it's gone off screen, but boom, here we have Road Rocket in her robot mode. I'm just going to back things up so we can actually see her properly. Just a couple of minor things worth noting that I forgot to do. These forearm pieces, they go up to reveal the hands. They just angle up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, basically this is Road Rocket. So in terms of the coloration, it's very close to the original. We do have a couple of slight differences. Like the black feet should be red. The blue on the forearms shouldn't be there, though I like it. The rest of it is pretty darn good, right down to the wheels behind the shoulders. I'm gonna say it's a 9.9. Honestly, for the look, the transformation, the way it's engineered is interesting. I like that the arms become the back of the vehicle. I like that the legs come up and wrap around. Unfortunately, as you heard, I've popped both thighs. I've popped these front shins off. I've popped both biceps off. I had a shoulder fall off. I've had the front of the motorcycle fall off. The tolerances on my copy are atrocious. I mean atrocious. Perhaps the worst mold I've encountered in a decade. If not the worst, well up there. I had to work on most of the mushroom pegs with this and a pin. To me, that's unacceptable for what this cost. And to be fair, this comes in at a paltry 56 grams of plastic compared to the typical 84 grams of a deluxe. It's not a deluxe. I mean, it's not a Legends or a Core for those of you that are new, but it's not a deluxe. I'm sorry. It's just not. It doesn't, it feels delicate. It feels like everything wants to just flex on it. I don't like the feel of it, and therefore the transformation that should have been probably something around a 9.5. Because everything came off, I got to mark it down to about a 6. If you have a copy that works perfect and don't have all of the issues that mine did before I done a ton of work, then yeah, it's probably about a 9, 9.5. Excellent idea, excellent engineering, but the way it was pulled off in manufacturing is an absolute fail, an abysmal fail as far as I'm concerned. In terms of the articulation for her, the head goes left and right, some up and down. The arms, I mean by rights they can go all the way around, all the way out to the side. An elbow that's 90 degrees or better. Wrist rotation, which is nice. Apparently there's a waist, but like I can't really get any sort of discernible waist. This that I'm flexing here is more the plastic in the back flexing than an actual waist. I see what looks like the engineering for a waist, but I've done enough work on this thing. I shouldn't have to do that too. Legs go not all the way out, but out certainly more I think than you'll ever need. Forward is fine. Back is fine. Thigh now is fine, but they both popped off. Knee is 90 degrees. I guess if you wanted to no, you're not going to get more, I don't think, than 90 degrees. Ankle tilt, it's not huge, but there is a little ankle tilt there. I'm going to say that the articulation, I wish that there was a better waist. I don't know, I'm going to say that the articulation is an 8, I guess. It should have been better, but the materials just feel so awful on this. The materials feel so bad that it takes what should have been scored as a 9 to a 9.5, and with the fact that this is overpriced and undersized with, I think, very questionable materials, takes that 9, 9.5, and honestly makes this fall down to about a 6.5. It's so weird because there's things here that I like, but the materials feel so bad that it's hard for me to be able to recommend this. Here's what I would say. If you love motorcycles, if you like the RC and you were able to have a good one, or you don't have it and you want to copy the mold, I mean, take the risk, but know the risk you're taking, because you could end up with an excellent copy, or you could end up with a copy that has literally pretty much every mushroom peg as well as the whole front of the bike just fall off, and in that case either you'll have to return it or you'll have to be willing to do some sanding, some building stuff. Some people use like the floor polish fix. I prefer Bondec because it's more permanent. But yeah, maybe you'll luck out and get a great copy. Maybe some of you already have great copies. Mine was not. I see the potential here for an easy 9, but as it turned out, because of everything I had to do for what I had to give, I got to give this thing about we'll say a 6.5. Bit unfortunate when the potential's there. And here we are, and here she is, and man, I wish I could tell you that she's fantastic, but I can't. I really can't. The look is there. The look is great. I think the engineering and design is there and interesting, right? I mean, you got the arms that become the back of the bike, you got the legs that come up and wrap around to become the bottom of the bike, as well as like the seat and stuff. I think that the design is inspired and different and unique, and I like it. But unfortunately, the materials are not good. Everything popped off. I had to fix so much. Both biceps, both thighs, the front of both shins. Sometimes I had to kind of build up a peg. Sometimes I had to sand something down or cut something away. Then I had an arm that literally just came off the pin. Luckily I was able to repin it, but you know, that happened a long time ago with my Titan's Return Blitzwing. His arms just fell off. She had an arm that just fell off. Fresh out of package. The two front pieces, though they were folded back, they weren't tabbed in. Guess what? They couldn't tab in until I shaved down the pegs. The materials here are awful. Awful. I don't know if it's just my copy of the mold. I find it hard to believe that just one copy of the mold could have so much wrong with it, especially since I've heard bad things about the Legacy Prime RC mold. I wanted to love this, and I have made it serviceable. But fresh out of package, I had to do far too much work for what I had to spend to get this. I shouldn't have had to do any work. It is unacceptable. Get it at your own risk, but don't be shocked if you get a copy that has a lot of issues that you have to do work on. I honestly feel like if you have a perfect, flawless, perfectly tolerant version of this mold, that you would probably say it's really unique, it's really inspired, it's a great mold. I would be right there with you. But considering everything I had to do to make this one just serviceable, I think it's unacceptable. It's one of those things where I'd say, it's great, you know, probably get it, but you have to understand the risk you're taking in doing so. I don't think that any of us as collectors should be taking risks in the purchases we make. I feel like we should be able to buy with confidence. Let me know what you think about Road Rocket. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, man, you right there, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.